I don't have my headphones in, so I'm not gonna be able to hear you. I get my thinkorswim set up. Yeah, I mean, I can hand over the stream to you quick if you want to. We got about 10 minutes. All right. Well, I set my thinkorswim up. Good morning, everyone on YouTube. Sarah's gonna be going live here, so let me make sure we've got.
Can you guys see my screen in Discord? Okay, good, cool. Okay, I'm just gonna blow through my weekly watch list that I made last night. Apple was on it, but Apple is no longer on it because it's gapping way down for something to do with their sales of their 16. So Apple no longer. We got AI inside week at the bottom of our Browning formation after hitting downside exhaustion 2 weeks ago. So this is basically an exhaustion reversal play. And we also have this nice little PMG right here. No daily actionable signal. It would just be continuation if it triggers today. Like pretty much everything's going to be daily continuation if it triggers the week today. So you either have to take the weekly trigger or wait for some kind of hourly setup to form. Cat. So 2 down, 2 up week to potentially trigger the 2 down, 2 up month. Pretty close to doing that. I should have this there. Google. Also an exhaustion reversal play after going outside quarter on, last week it was. So yeah, hit outside quarter, hits exhaustion. We got a big green hammer, so 2 down, 2 up. Also pivot machine gun-esque. IWM, 2 down, 2 up to potentially maybe get us close to triggering the 2 down, 2 up month. So a lot of dominoes here, which is usually what I look for on the weekend. MU, another exhaustion reversal play. They also had some sort of bad news, so not close to triggering that at all right now, but we have all week. We'll see what they want to do. PayPal, 322 week, just to kick back into full time frame continuity. It's not going to trigger anything on the month. It's just, it can turn the month green with the weekly 322. Fun to say, fun to do. Qualcomm, inside week to trigger the 2 down, 2 up month. SQ, same thing, 2 down, 2 up week to potentially trigger the 322 month. Like everything's the same. So eBay, or no, sorry, this is Tesla. Tesla last week was looking real bearish, but that doesn't matter. We got no actionable signals. Shooter did not go in force. We ended with an inside week right at that monthly trigger. So 2 weeks ago, they tried to trigger the 2 down, 2 up month, and then they failed, sold it down instantly. Last week, this week, we're going to try and re-trigger the month. So that looks nice. I'm going to have to find some more daily targets because not a lot on the week, kind of far away. Uber, 2 down, 2 up week to trigger 2 down, 2 up month. Or sorry, that would be a 322, actually. This is a 3. And that's what I got. That's what I'm watching. Just realized I didn't have alerts set. That's no good.
I had someone saying Bitcoin ticker that mentioned a few weeks ago on live. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. There's a lot of them. You have all the miners, which are like MSTR, or not MSTR, Riot, CLSK, Hut, Mara. Those are all the Bitcoin miners. Then you have Bitcoin, which could be ARC-B, which has no options. There's BitO, which does have options. There's GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, a lot of that type of stuff. And then you have things that move with Bitcoin like MSTR because they hold a lot of Bitcoin. So unsure which one you are referencing.
Or why? Because Bitcoin is stuck.
Yeah. The only thing I see this morning on Bitcoin stuff is like you might get Mara Pivot Machine Gun RevStrat Day or something this morning. The rest of them are opening inside like MSTR. CLSK has a slight RevStrat Day or 2-2 day. It's like there's not much to talk about there. Maybe Coin would open as shooter day down. That's about it.
All right, Alex, do you want me to give the screen back to you?
Sure, I can take it.
All right, I'm going to go grab my coffee.
Run to the gas station this morning. We didn't have any milk. Coffee. All right. So Sarah talked about some of the stuff she's got on her list. I do have most of that stuff in here. To start the day, given the market went up last week, the losing traders today are going to be anything that's going down because that's where they're not getting what they want. So things in the kicking section on the gap list like MU, ADI, AMAT, QCOM with the rev strats and kicking pattern days. So that'd be the first place to go. And the way kicking patterns work is we got about 3 minutes. So I can quickly pull this up for you guys. So when it comes to the gap list, this is from our boot camp. We're going to be talking about this week in the boot camp. But with kicking patterns, what we're looking for is a kicking pattern back through previous range, where you trap all these guys in longs or shorts and then pivot machine gun back through. As far as how we enter them, anytime the kicking pattern bearish, like we see today, if that's red on the day, that is a short. If it is green, it is not a short. And the ideal move is we get slight green and then flip it red, hit it short, and put a stop at high day. So it's really quick stuff in the morning. The way you wait and let these set up is you look for 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute actionable signals, like an inside bar or a 2-2 reversal on those time frames to confirm the direction of the kicker. And what we're looking for when we go and get into those charts, we can see like MU, slight broadening formation in here. So you'd want to see the 2-2 reversal day magnitude down in here, 84.12. If we go to ADI, it's got a rev strat, which gives you a magnitude down into this stuff, 214.71 if they get puking today. AMAT, potentially. Rev strat also has a pretty big magnitude, and then QCOM, rev strat also has a pretty big magnitude. So this is where the losers would be. Does not mean they have to go down, given we have a lot of inside / hammer weeks in the chips. Let's say they gap down and they start going green and reclaim yesterday's lows. We can then go and take them long to see if we can take last week's highs and start coming back through these guys instead. So we're not too much. We're not married to direction per se. If it's red, we're going to go after the shorts. And then if it's green, we'll see if we set up 15 or 30, 60 gap down buys. And then the bullish, strongest stuff we're going to see is the Dow Jones. So that's going to be anything industrial on that list, like ODFL inside week, CPRT 322 week, and then Triple M coming from the ADEX crew 22 week. And then the most gap ups I see are healthcare. Is a lot of small cap biotech with on the gap list ASMD for the midgets. uh, to start growing. So we'll see if that starts blowing out the top of the tri. And you'll see it's not a kicking pattern, but what it does is it changes. Notice this month, if you're short, you're now screwed because you're opening in a, probably 2, 3, 4% loss where you could have been up 12%, 10% into the close on Friday. So this could blow those guys out and start going after 160. So that would be the only gap up name we'd want to go after right away if you're looking to buy stuff and you're not playing the short side of things. And here's the open. And you can see how, boom, right when that changes, anyone short this month has problems. We'll see the staples starting pretty strong to start the week. Pepsi being potential inside week and up to start the week in the staples. Right above last week's highs, there it is. Inside and up. There's also going to be Coca-Cola, potential 222 week in the staples. So Pepsi goes first, and then Coke might follow. ASND goes green on the day, so to start the day, that is a buy. We'll see if it sets up any additional signals for us to play. ADI, green to red move for the kicking 122 rev strat day to start Monday. AMAT, green to red, puts the 22 rev strat day in force. QCOM, green to red, puts the day 122 in force. So some bearish chips and some more bullish staples. SPY opens inside week. IWM opens as 2-2 on the week. Dow Jones opens at all-time highs, 3-2 up month, 3-2 up week. So top of the month and weekly broadening formation to start. We will see what comes of those industrials. You'll have Triple M opening as 2-2 week in force. And then Copart, 3-2-2, fun to save, fun to do on the week. So when all these open like this, you can either go and try and get after them with smaller sizes, and then we'll see what signals set up, 15, 30, 60s intraday to confirm and negate that. Or you can be patient and let them open, which is normally what I'm doing in the morning. But the industrials, we got a lot of those moving up, so that's a good thing. And then we will see what happens in those chips. I got no positions to start the week so far. CNC is 322 in the healthcare sector. MOH opens 312 up with the 2 going 3/4 with the month 3 and getting greener. MOH, strongest healthcare name full time from continuity. Smuckers does open double inside week up with the staples, and that's going to move in with your Pepsi and Coke and then XLP. So we'll see if they set some stuff up for us today. Then industrials, CAT, DE open as 2 weeks. So it looks like we got most evidence in the industrials. We got CAT, we got DE, and then transports. We have ODFL inside week in force, then CPRT 322 fun to save, fun to do, and then Triple M 222. So most signals in the industrials to start the week. And we can also get a quantitative analysis of that. Like this. So on the Strat Alert site, scanning week in force will allow you to identify simultaneous breaks. So you can see week in force, we got 122 in force signals to start the week. This is where the week normally gets going right away. So you can go after simultaneous breaks. And since there's so many of them, we can filter and say, well, industrials, that's what we're thinking. We got 26 industrial names in force to start the week. So you can see ITW up 1% to start the week, FedEx transports up to start the week, Triple M to start the week up 1%, and those are gonna be your strongest names, as well as CAT, and there's CPRT with the 322. So these are gonna be all your strongest names, simultaneous break in the industrial sector. And with the simultaneous breaks, the most common signal we're going to see, like let's say Copart's going to get moving, we might get like inside 5-minute measured move, and we can go after that type of stuff to confirm the breaks. SPY to start the week, still inside day, doing nothing on a Monday, so we'll see what comes of that. QQQ 2-2 on a Monday, coming back in, so you'll notice we have a lackluster market, half the market going up, half going down. QCOM is still a kicking pattern day, green to red again. AMAT, green to red again. ADI still slightly green. And MU still has the kicker in force, so still some weakness in the chips. We go and load up the market view here. You can see financials, materials, real estate's all very green to start the week with some of those energies as well. So, in stat, we talked about XOP last week on Hammer Day setting up today. Weekly 2-2 hammer in force. XLE is working on that, not yet. And then OIH is still nowhere, or actually, no, it did do that as well. So, got some simultaneous break there. Apple is still full time from continuity down, not having a good time to start the new week. Nvidia's inside day down, not having a good time in the tech side of things. Let's see the semis and Qs. That's where you go to short. Qs and semis taking out Friday's participants. ADI green to red with the momentum shooter 5-minute ADI. AMAT confirming 5-minute 2 down to start the day. Rev Strat 122 on a Monday in force. QCOM 2 down, slight Momo shoot 5-minute to start the day as well. So kicking patterns in chips still good. RVTY in the healthcare is working on its Rev Strat month still. So the only thing we see going up at this point, we'll see IWM 225 are down, so confirmed SPY and Qs to start the day, giving you more evidence on the downside. You got 2 down Qs, inside red SPY, 2 going 3 IWM to the downside. Dow Jones is still up, but now 215er, which means it was going up and now it is consolidating. The VIX is 2-2 to start the week with UVXY 2-2 to start the week, showing some fear. Reclaiming some outside days in the UVXY and the VIX, and they will have full time from continuity technically, but SPY and Qs are not into bearish full time from continuity, so you want to see that if that's going to be the case, which they're not far from changing on the SPY if they change the month back to red. Qs did technically flip into bearish full time from continuity, but they're dead stuck inside weak at this point, which is why we'd want to go after things that have magnitude to try and take last week's lows or things that are doing that. That's where the true selling occurs in the Qs, which if we scan that, we can go 2 down weak. Apple and Cuervo. So this is where the true selling's in the Qs. Apple, which is still inside month, and then Cuervo, which is trying to take last month's lows. So Cuervo, probably one of the worst looking ones in the tech this week to start. SPY still inside day, goes into short-term intraday exhaustion risk. Bottom of the 5-minute broadening formation SPY. We got the new 15ers not coming for another like 7 minutes. Use some intraday, what looks like 2 down and green, 5 or some profit taken on the second 5 of the day. IWM reclaims gap up into yesterday's highs, reclaiming the previous range, or at least attempting to start the day. We'll see what the 15ers bring. Dow Jones still inside 5 to confirm or negate on the third 5-minute of the day. Buy still at the lows. Looks like inside 1 or down, so they're trying to expand that. Still an inside day. Hughes opens inside 5. Dow closes its inside 5. Now double inside. IDBM is 10-minute 2-2 back down, gap up sell in the IDBM to start the week. Reclaim of yesterday's highs. Things I see staying up while the market comes back in. We got staples closer to confirming. Retail still up there at the morning highs. So some sectors are stronger than others in there. The rest of them are either dojis or a little weaker. And Dow Jones closer to inside 5 down to negate, or at least attempt to negate, which would set up a 15 shoot to start the week, gap up and sell. CPRT is closer to 5-minute measured move. It's not the 10 out of 10 setup there because we'd want to see the Dow Jones doing that as well, and we don't. So all the semis are going inside bar. ADI is a little bit stronger on that list, so not quite as weak as others. AMAT, looks like they're chopping them up doji day to start, so we'll see if that sets anything up. QCOM firms up on the 3rd 5er. So at this point, they're inside week doji day. We do have a kicking pattern, yes, but it needs to be red, and now we don't have a signal confirming that, so we have to either be long guys or wait. Personally, I'm letting them open right now. IDBM on the 2-2 tenor gap sell is coming back in, fills the gap. SPY is still bottom of the broadening formation, trying to get out of its inside day to the downside. Like the biotechs are doing that with the IBM gap up in red to start the day. So I'll see it's nowhere near an outside day, so they may be triangle layout to start the week. But when the week opens, we have less evidence where the day week opens are the same. And right now, the day week and 60 opens are the same. Doesn't mean we can't trade, but it does mean we are less evidence on our continuity. Which is why we like to say let them open a bit. Like gold, they're taking some profit this morning there. In the tech, Microsoft is the strongest one I see. They're still taking last week's highs and last month's highs while the market's weak here. So they have an outside 15 resolving higher into the second 15 of the day. Microsoft, some relative strength. You have the 2215 gap sell set up from the 225er IDBM and the 2210er gap sell IDBM. And that would, it's trying to go outside day. We're nowhere near it, but you do have this broadening formation on the 5-minute, 215.50. So you'd want a penny below that. XLK, or gap down, is setting up a hammer 15, second 15 of the day. Microsoft would be the relative strength there. Semis are still a little weaker than the rest of the tech. All the energies, Shooter 15, XLE, OIH, XOP to start the day. Regional banks are also gap up sell 15ers with the banking ETF, KBE, gap up sell 15ers. And that's going to be your IBM. Normally those regionals, big part of that. Biotechs are also gap up sell 15ers. So most things are gapping up and selling as far as signals concerned, second 15 of the day. Materials also gap up sell a little bit. Tech is closer to the hammer 15 gap down buy. Microsoft 3215 goes instantly, resolving higher, so it's got to stay out of the side of that morning 3 on the 15. It's the only tech I can find you that's really strong on that list. While the market's going down. IBM 2215 goes in force gap up sell, confirming the tenors. Now, you'd want it down in here. What, 215.66, so 215.65 would be ideal. And then we don't know. We'll see if maybe an outside day if they really wanted to get after it, but it's asking for a lot on a Monday here. Energies all simultaneous, 2-2-15 back down. SJM is rev stretching the week, goes green and then flips red with 15s back down. Smuckers. Staples is still holding up, so Smuckers is just slightly relatively weak, but it is still taking last week's highs. Dow Jones is still.
PayPal.
Dow Jones is
Yep.
Sorry, I was going to say PayPal's got an inside fiver in force right now, trying to retrigger the week.
Financials are inside 15, so it's just PayPal. Gap list Apple goes inside 15 stuff. Upstart kicking is bright red to start the day. Slight triangle out on the 5. A lot of inside 15s that I'm seeing here. AMAT inside 15 does go red to green day, so kicking pattern is not enforced to start the morning. QCOM, same thing. ADI, similarly. So kicking pattern is not enforced on the chips. We will see. Currently, they are gap down and slight buy. Semis are close to doing that. They still haven't negated. Qs close to doing that. Still haven't negated the morning open yet. And then XLK Tech still hammer 15, gap down, and 2-2 back up. XLK. CMG week in force, month in force. Put that on the observations list. And observations, it can be things from this list that are really moving. And that's why we say let them open, because we can figure out where they're really moving and then go after that stuff. It does look like healthcares are a little stronger off the lows this morning, so that's a good thing. And then Dow Jones still the strongest sector in there. 325 are up in the Dow. It's trying to get outside of its morning mother bar. It is all-time highs. Looks like IBM 225 firms up after failing to give us all of that. Did give the 10-minute and the 15-minute magnitude, but that was about it. SPY does come back up off the morning broadening formation, back to doji inside day on a Monday, inside week, inside day, inside month SPY. So they're chopping them up. Copart is 212 10-minute measured move CPRT, confirming 322. Fun to say, fun to do on the week. CPRT. DE's 222 tenor this morning, trying to get the week 22 in force. It already has hit weekly magnitude, but it is back through previous range on the bigger time frames. In the energies, although they took out the morning lows, XOM did not, so it's a little stronger still. Still has the 322 on the 2-day in force all day today. It was something we were talking about last week in stat. So energies, you can see 2 down, shooter, and then countering that, which creates a momentum 222 back up, which would confirm the upward direction from the bottom of the try. If we go to XOP, 2 up, 2 down, and then green, so it'd be countering the shooter, which is momentum. Then OIH countering the shooter, which is momentum. So if they go stronger, XOM, notice it did not take morning lows, gives a little relative strength there. There might be some 322s in MPC, and you're trading straight conflict. A lot of that is very, very conflicted. So SPY, bottom of the 15 try, they did not get out of it. They changed on that 15 flip, brought it back through, firming it up. The Dow off the 3-2 expansion 500 take high day, takes high day. So still relative strength in the Dow Jones, industrials. Target hammer 2-2 week, still mother bar on the week, but does 2-2. You got PMG on the day above. We will put it on the observation. Intel on the gap list. This is part of the Dow Jones, I believe. It is 2 up to start the morning on the 15ers. AMAT is gap down, goes 2-2. QCOM gap down, goes 2-2. So they firm up in the semis there. SMH has not done that yet, but we do have XLK already doing that. You can see, so you look at SPY, notice it's 2-2-15, which goes back to 2 up, firms it up. Q's, not yet. It's red to green day now, so anyone short in the morning cues, they're going to have issues. But Dow Jones goes two up, which gives us relative strength in the Dow. So it tells us we want to go after that type of stuff. In the industrials, CPRT from the measured move tenor does make high a day. Now we just need to see them stay up there with a stop and profit or even. And we'll have a good chunk of 15 or inside bars going into the second 30, decoupling of the 30 and weekly opens. So sadly, we cannot see it here, but you'll see Staples still much stronger, financials much stronger, Dow Jones much stronger, and SPY's a bit stronger than the rest. We'll have some hammer 30s, semis, Qs, XLK, hammer 30s to the upside. And then retail sector much stronger. And then within the tech, Microsoft's one of the strongest ones I can find. And it looks like they're still going after gold and the inflationary type stuff. Not so much materials, like a little bit, but mostly that gold, precious metal stuff. You can still trade it. Remember when we talk about mother bars, you start the new broadening formation. So this equilibrium, they're reclaiming that, right? They're trying to go back through it. The only issue is how you get out of this month, right? Like that's not what we want. A 3-2 and above that would be more ideal. CPRT short-term exhaustion risk high a day. They're taking some profit. Could have the 222 ADM in the staples. Staples are two up to start the day, so relative strength in that sector. SJM also could become 222. 15ers. They will open inside 30s, so you have to be aware of that. ADM would be a little closer to change in that. Observation charter goes 2-2 weak with some relative strength in the communications sector charter. It's got weekly pivot machine gun, potential rev strap month charter. Also tells you to look at Liberta, LBRDA, which is doing similar. Second 30s of the day open in 1 minute, decoupling. And then once we get to the second 60 of the day, or actually, yeah, so once we get to the second 60 of the day, we will have the decoupling of the 60, and then we'll have our first 30-60 setups, which we're going to be looking for inside 30s or 2-2 30s. Right now on this flip, the only thing you're going to have is 2-2 reversal 30s or maybe 3-2 continuations. So we have to remember how long it takes our signals to set up. If you're going for rev strat 30s, that's going to take an hour and a half to set up, right? So you can't even get a rev strat until that third 30 of the day is closed. So as we say let them open, or when we say with new traders to let them open, the 30/60s force you to do that, because you can't take a 30 signal until that second 30 of the day. And similarly with the 60s, 60 rev strats don't set up until the third 60 of the day has closed. So there is a lot of waiting to start the new week, which is fine. What we'll say though is SPY is the 3-2-30 up potentially to continue higher. Dow, it's at high a day, inside 5 or inside 30. Energies are 22215 or XLE, OIH, and XOP. Tells you relative strength in XOM, so we'll see what comes of that. In the chips, NVIDIA is hammer 30 to try and rev strat a daily, with the semis hammer 30 SMH. Then XLK Tech off the hammer 15 stays good. Looks like they'll reconfirm that second 30 of the day. And that's a 2 going 3 day in XLK with the semis. Hughes is opening still inside 30. IBM is doji on the day. Pepsi is 2230 down after gapping up on a Monday, so they take last week's highs out and reverse back down. So you might get some triangle day outs in there to start the week. Much weaker than the staples, which is not taking the morning lows. TPRT after high day exhaustion risk does rev strat the 10 minutes, so it does not give us what we're looking for there. We'll see if it sets up again. Tesla might try and reclaim. It's got some mother bar 15 though. They took out daily magnitude Tesla, and then 15 they're trying to 2-1-2 reversal, but you can see this 30, got to get out of that. That's the only issue. So far, Q's inside 30, SPY inside 30, inside day, Dow Jones inside 30, profit taking high of day, IBM inside 30. So a lot of chop shop on the second 30 of the day open. You can see 5 or 3-2 up at Dow Jones high day, and then inside 5 negates, stops out those guys. And now stuck inside 15, inside 30, 2 up day at all-time highs. So although it's the strongest one, we don't have any pivots to come back through on the Dow. Semis due to gap down 30 to back up, with tech close to doing that still, so still seeing some buying off the lows on the gap downs in tech and semis. Hughes has not done any of that yet. NVIDIA 2-2 hammer to cause outside day rev strat day NVIDIA. Semis tech break, NASDAQ is going to be 2230 simultaneous break with those sectors. So we have a lot of evidence for any of the futures traders. 3230 in the NASDAQ. Reversal. Could get it moving. And that's one of my favorite simultaneous breaks is tech, semis, NASDAQ all at the same time. So right now we do not have Qs doing it, but it's not far from breaking, which would confirm it. And you'd have all three of those trying to go. They got every index inside. Do have IDBM 3-2 up expansion fiver to try and take high a day with a 2-2 weekend force. So IDBM is a little stronger there, but just not getting cues to take out those morning highs. That's the only issue here. Looks like Sarah's mentioned the same thing. Maybe we triangle some guys out again. So Q's stays inside, still chopping them up. Q's SPY, Dow Jones, IBM, all inside 30s, which will set up a simultaneous 2-1-2 reversal or continuation, but we'll have to see. What I can say definitively is tech and semis, unless they go 30s back down, they have simultaneously broke, so you have at least some evidence on the upside in there, and they do have full time from continuity on that stuff. So we'd still prefer Qs go higher to confirm that stuff, but it's got to become a 2 on the 30. That's the biggest thing. There was some triangle out oneer, and maybe they can get that 30 going now, but we'll see. Still inside 15, 30, and 60 on the futures. Crude oil still 2-2 weak, not bad. Just don't have the energy sector really firming up with that. They've got also chop shop inside 30s, so I don't know if I have the market view for the 30s in here. I do not. But if I did have the 30s up, you'd see about 80% of these trading as a 1 besides tech and semis. So QCOM on the failed kicking pattern, you can see with the gap down buy and all the semis, that's ripping them up. Hughes is trying to get that going, still inside, but close to breaking the 30s. Have an inside 15 that'll close in 2 minutes, but it could become 2 up pretty easily. MU on the gap list is also the 2230 with all the semis and tech. Not mention that one. 15ers close Qs. They try and reconfirm. It's momentum, though. It's continuation. That means I would have to continuation and then trigger a 30 reversal. Currently still inside 30 Qs, inside 30 SPY, inside 30 red Dow Jones, inside 30 IWM. You can see we got healthcare's inside 30, financials inside 30, staples 2 up, 2 down, taking the morning lows, which means Pepsi, puke off the gap up, sell 30's relative weakness in the staples and fills its gap. It's like Coke is now negating the opens there as well. So we'll have a ton of inside 30 simultaneous break. Industrials will be inside 30, transports will be inside 30. Qs, they're rev strat in that 15 momentum, so I prefer not to enter on momentum. Still just straight up inside 30 doji day to start the new week. Like financials are 15 double inside up, which is a sideways 30 and up. So I know Sarah's been talking about score in the chat, but a little bit of relative strength there. Just still setting up a momentum hammer 30. Use rev strats goes outside 15. Once a 3, always a 3. So you can see the broadening formation gets a little bigger in here intraday. Takes out the highs and the lows. Look at that monthly on target. How much evidence do we have for the market to be going up right now? SPY is inside, Qs is inside, IBM is inside, Dow Jones is inside. So big ol' yikes. Huge expansion of the little sub try that started this morning. Still just outside 15, rev strat 1-3. Got 6 minutes to the new 30s, which will give us confirm or negate of what we've seen so far. So Qs is 2 down, 130 doji day. SPY is 3, 130, so outside, inside. Dow Jones is up and then inside 30. IBM is up and then inside 30. So Dow and IBM went up. Qs went down. SPY failed to the downside 3. So the inside 30 will confirm Q's going down, or it will negate Q's going down and confirm IWM Dow Jones going up. As we get closer to it, these 30s are closer to breaking inside down for the first 30s of the week. And it's going to be across most of the market, given all the indexes are inside. Relative strength, it looks like financials are holding up a bit better than the rest. Um, that's kind of like the most relative strength I can find you as far as to start the morning. Utilities as well, a little bit stronger with inside 30 up at all-time highs now from the inside quarter we mentioned many months ago. So, we're not going to really go after that at all-time highs. Uses going expansion of that subtry this morning still. Put it closer to inside 3212 continuation, which would confirm a 2 up, 2 down day with magnitude left. Second 30s, or yeah, third 30s of the day open, second 60s of the day open. Q's closest to inside down continuation, confirming daily reversal. The Dow would be a 212 reversal. IDBM is 212 reversal pivot machine gun. SPY is simultaneous break 312, still an inside day. You're going to get 22230s on all the semis tech. SMH 22230, XLK would be a 22230. And these are still dojis on the day, but they would renegate the day green to red. Now we would have Qs confirming those, so you got simultaneous break across that sector. And across all the indexes in the same direction. The Dow Jones 30 is causing a 62.2 from all-time highs, changes the week continuity on the second 60 of the day, decoupling with the 30 signal. SPY 30 hits magnitude low a day. And to take a look at these weekly charts, Q's still inside weeks. Dow Jones is 2 up in red, back into a 3 with the shooter 60. So it looks a little worse. It is stronger, but it is coming back into a 3. So they're attempting to fail all-time highs. We'll see as the week goes on. And then IBM is a 2 up, slightly red week with the 30 taking the 60 down, or at least attempting to. So half the market inside, the other half are 2 up in red. SPY also becomes 3-2-60 down from the 30, 3-1. And when you get a 3-2 during an inside bar, it is attempting to cause that inside bar to become a 2 because an expansion of a 3 is trying to increase the size of the range. At this point, still though, inside day SPY. So unless it stays down, you have that 3 to worry about, which currently they're outside of it. And the lows of that 3, 560.83. So you don't want to see it come back above that if we're going to get previous day low. As far as this week, we're lacking any weekly downside signals, which tells me that, it could bring it back in depending on how aggressive the 2-2s on Monday can be. We're just not seeing many things taking last week's lows, which gives us less evidence on the downside to completely follow through after any daily magnitudes are reached. See SPY 312 3060 waiting to let the market open. Simultaneous break goes instantly and then staying down at the lows. Qs, there's your daily or 30-minute magnitude for the momentum down, the weakest one in the market because it was 212 down, and it was also taking Friday's lows out. Now that is exhaustion risk, so it needs to stay down 470.54 is that magnitude. If it does not, then that could be where the selling completes. So far, they're not anywhere near reversing anything. Then IDBM hit its 30 magnitude. Looks like it's not following through much on that. And as far as strength goes, the financials are still the strongest stuff. So if we see these strengthen up after magnitudes are reached, making the new lows of the day, financials could have some 15ers to cause RevStrat 30s 1-3 or set up the 1-2-2 RevStrat 30s in the financials. And what we'll see is the good morning try, that 5-minute try cues expands, causes that 30 inside down, takes low of day, and this becomes your good morning try. They poke up, they poke down, now question mark, exhaustion risk, profit taking at the lows. And still inside weak spying cues, so we don't have much twos on the downside besides the 60 in day. And the 60 is short-term exhaustion, just making a slight lower low. So SPY 30s, you can see they poke down and now they're reclaiming it inside fiver, setting up at low day on SPY. Should attempt to RevStrat that, flip it the other way. See SPY still inside 5. That will either confirm the direction of the 30 or negate. We'll see. Hughes is 2 down, 5, so still turning lower, but green. Profit taking at low day, and we'll see what the next 2 is. IDBM goes inside, and Dow goes inside as well. Fivers close inside across all indexes besides Qs, opening double inside, so no reversals yet. And on a bigger time frame, the monthly open on SPY is right up in here, 560.47. So they go equilibrium, agreeing on prices right at the month open, doji month right now. One of the strongest stocks I can find is still in the tech crowd. It could be the 222 on the 15 with a bright green day with a 2-2 weekend force. It is going tenors back up currently. SPY inside 5 up after low a day exhaustion risk comes back into the morning 3 broadening formation. Still inside day. Qs went 2-2 after low a day exhaustion risk, reclaiming the morning lows and reversing. What could that create, negate, or do? Maybe we set up the 3-2-2-15, that bigger good morning try, but we'll see. The 30 still red and in force, 60 is just continuation. SPY is trying to rev strat the 5 minutes, but still inside day, so hit or miss on that. Green then break even. Yeah, but you're supposed to reduce. I don't know if you missed that part. Let's say the chips semis had the 15-2-2. The stronger semis had that hammer or the 2 down in green. So let's say AMAT or QCOM, whatever you're looking at. 2 up, 2 up, red inside and gets redder, reduce. Then it stops you out break even, so be it. Pay for commissions and then move on to the next. Say Intel is also observed as being relatively stronger in the tech, failing to take the morning lows unlike the rest of the tech did with crowd. SPY is still reclaiming some of that broadening formation this morning. You see the really big one, or small one technically, that started last week. They did make lower highs showing buyer weakness, makes the new lows. Now they have reclaimed that above an inside 5 minute. So the question is, are we going to be strong enough to try and take any of these guys out again? Since we're still inside week, we haven't triggered any weekly guys. We've not triggered any of Monday's guys, which still get to stay long if they're long against Monday. And you see they re-break the 5 up. Like Dow Jones also, good morning try, recovers on an inside 5 equilibrium at low a day. You can see they went inside 5 high a day, inside 5 low a day. Still just a doji. Second 15s of the 60 open opening inside 15 SPY, Qs, IDBM, and Dow Jones opens 2. He uses 2225 to try and take a low a day out again, which confirms the 30 for control currently. The second 15, still the weakest one in the market. Tech and semis are confirming the Qs as well. While that occurs, Dow Jones is a little stronger, giving some strength back to the Dow. Still just dojis in the Dow, but we may set up 60 signals as we get to the third 60s of the day. And specifically those financials, which have been holding strong all morning. See that 30 is starting to rev strat with the 15. Still it's an inside 60, which would have to change. SPY confirms the Qs. Still inside 15 Qs at low a day. Tried low a day again, they're still too weak to make it. Crowd stronger in the Qs. 222.15 after the tenors. Use is going to be an inside 15. We got 10 minutes until that can change unless the fiver takes it 322.15 or reversal after low day. Is also potentially 2-2 reversal with the Q's still just inside 15. See if we look at the Q's, it's still an inside week, so this is your continuity, 60-day week and month. It's technically continuity down, right? But we're inside week, 2 down day, exhaustion risk, low of day on the 60s. So if this were to strengthen up, this is still going to be in conflict because the week opens here and month open is somewhere just around here, right? Whereas when we look to things like crowd, when the market firms up as an inside bar, that changes into control of the 60-day and week. It's not full time frame continuity, which is what's preferred, but we're not seeing much of that yet this week. Same with Intel. So you just have slightly more evidence there compared to something like Qs or SPY, which is into conflict right now. And when we're looking at discernible trends to start the week, it's still a week in force. We're looking for continuity. It's going to kind of be lackluster. There's some technology. Filter by direction here. You see there's some technology, some financial, some healthcare. So there's a few things kind of across the board that are coming up, but we want to have a nice concentration in our favor. We go to Autodesk, still an inside month. CMG has a 2 on the month, so that's a little bit better in there. A lot of these financial services are stuck in sidebar. You can throw Carvana on there. So it's one that you're looking at last week. Already hit its weekly magnitude. Still an inside month, so it makes it kind of meh, but we do have some continuity there, at least in our favor. See some triangle out 30s. If we go to utilities, it's just going to all-time highs. It's not seeing many discernible trends in here. There's a few stronger, weaker names. Cisco can also be an observation name. Now, does that mean that can't change? No, it can. You see 3-2 down SPY, 2 week of sellers to make yesterday's lows staying within the range. Broadening formation gets a little bit bigger. We can reverse and get stuff going through here. We could go after any 2-2-30s, ideally with some form of continuity at the week, which brings in like your financials potentially. If you can get some 2-2-30s in there, they'd have the day, week, and 60 in control. But if we pull up the market view in here, you see they're buying some of the VIX, right? Financials, obviously relative strength. And the rest, you got some 60s back in, but a lot of these are still inside week. So we'll see a few energies, 60s back down as some type of trend, but not so much, still doji weeks. And then banking ETF, regional banks, financials, all relative strength in here. So we can at least pick that out as some relative strength, but the rest, you can see healthcare is stuck. Doji. Communications are a bit of a doji. Real estate's a little bit relative strength, but still doji. Microsoft's a doji, Apple doji, Nvidia doji. Gold miners, they did some profit taking today, so maybe some triangle outs will set up in there. But as far as discernible trends, does any of this look like definite buy or definite sell? It's like, well, maybe the UVXY looks like definite buy. Nice and green to start the day. But there's not too much. We did have some 30 simultaneous breaks, but since they're not staying, we're not getting that bright red or green continuity that we're looking for. Now the 15 inside bars, 5 minutes, either confirm or negate that, the smaller tries we are getting to open the week. So it feels like we don't want to feel things. We want to say, is there any discernible trends? And I guess the other thing we can do is show you this. So these are all your weeklies, right? So Dow Jones 3-2 up. So we got at least Dow Jones starting to go up to start the week. Qs and SPY 1 doing nothing, right? VIX, UVXY 1 doing nothing. Gold 2 up but red, so we consider that profit taking. It's control to the buyers, but sellers more aggressive, taking profit. Staples 2 up but red, we'll say it's profit taking unless we get like 2 twos on a Tuesday, they start bringing them in. And you'll see all the energies 2 up but slightly red. So since this is 2 up and red with continuity, we don't really know, is that profit taking or are they trying to get more short? We'll see. And then tech stuck, semis stuck. Semis is double inside week. Healthcare is 2 up but red, so some profit taking, initial shorts to open the week. Then communications 2 up but red, so profit taking. Discretionary stuck, financials stuck. So as far as trends that we can pick out, we can say financials a little stronger here in the regional banks and the banking ETFs, but not the XLF overall, which includes like your insurers and stuff like that. So discernible trends, we want something to be nice and green or nice and red. So to start the week, we can say regionals and then the banks a little bit greener, so we might be able to stick on that type of stuff today. But what we want to look for is full time frame continuity and signals while the market is kind of trying to figure out what's going on. We do have that news later this week, so that will play a part in it. But even when we go to these regionals, there's double inside month, which makes that kind of, meh. And banking ETF double inside month as well. So we want banks that are in force on the month, which we don't see Goldman Sachs, don't see Morgan Stanley. JP Morgan, we don't see that either, and it's still really weak. Bank of America, don't see that either. Citigroup, you don't see that either. So it's going to be a very tough time unless we can get outside of these morning broadening formations on SPY and Qs, which SPY is going to look something like this, right? Qs, the good morning try like this, poke up, poke down. You got the Dow Jones there. And IBM is closer to the lows, but you still have this. What we can still see doing is PEP on the gap up sell and the staples relative weakness is playing through. It's going to give likely that outside day, and then on the week it is inside bar 2 up in red. So maybe at rev strats the week we'll see XLP staples. Let's see on the 60 try. It's a maybe. You can see how it's conflicted. Be the weekday and 60 in control here on the 2260. Since the day and week are still coupled, we do not have daily guys to fall back on. We don't have evidence of that. Depending on what happens tomorrow, could it become a 2-2 and start trying to come back through these? Maybe. It's just very conflicted with this monthly, which is very green. For now, SMH, XLK, those 30 simultaneous breaks have not reversed. Qs it's not reversed, but firms up at low day inside bar. SPY is not reversed, firms up as an inside bar. So Dow Jones inside bar and then IBM inside bar. What is the next two? Will it confirm or will it negate the simultaneous breaks, specifically those in the tech with the relative weakness? The reason I don't normally stream on Mondays is because it's a lot more waiting to find where the discernible trend is without a shadow of a doubt. Because on a week like this, where you get half of those indexes inside a week and then the other half two up and dojis to start the week, you can say half the market's going up and the other half is doing nothing. But at that point, it's like half the market's doing nothing, right? So it's going to make it a little more difficult because you have less evidence to confirm and negate that stuff. For now, the simultaneous breaks are still holding, which what happens is at the beginning of the week, your simultaneous breaks, they're either going to be these intraday timeframes of 30, 60 stuff, or if you can get, like, let's say a whole sector, like 80% of that sector in force with signals right at the beginning, then we go after that stuff all Monday. But the reason the simultaneous breaks will occur normally at the beginning of the week, the beginning of the month, is because it's those initial positions being opened, especially if you have news later this month or this week. It can also be positions being closed. So like since last week was up, right? You can say this is the profit taking this stuff. It's not a reversal on the week or the day on SPY. So it's profit taking of all that stuff. They're stopping some guys out. Now when we go to the month, there's two up, slightly red on the futures. The week is inside chop shop, mother bar to that 3. And the day is inside on the ES. So how are you going to get a 2 on any of that stuff is our question. The closest next 2 would be the day, and we're still nowhere near taking that stuff out. Whereas if we were to compare that to the Qs, at least in the Qs, you have that relative weakness where it's taking out Friday's lows. So now these guys who bought Friday have to do something. So when that simultaneous break occurs, if that doesn't reverse, we're getting those guys on Friday starting to get stopped out. And it looks like 15 does confirm the simultaneous break on the Qs. So we're seeing some relative weakness in the tech and semis, all doing that as well. Simultaneous reconfirming of that. Still hasn't seen a 2 down SMH or a 2 down on the tech in the 60s yet. Well, if you're a gapper guy, QCOM 30, boom, goes up. Maybe it stops you out, so be it. Flip it short with the simultaneous break, make it back for the 30-60s. While the market's going down, upstart on the gap list is a 2-2, firming up a bit on the 60s. And I should actually fix that. Market is inside 30 at this point on most of this stuff. So trending lower, but now equilibrium forming at low day, presently inside. Regional banks and banking stuff is to the highs. It's the only thing with weekly signals I can find. Looks like the KBE banking ETF is a lot more regional stuff. Let me see, KBWB. Yeah, so it's really just regional banks, which is interesting before the news later this week. Normally I try and shy away from the regional banks if I play it. Normally I'm playing just the KRE itself to make it simple because you got a lot of really small names in those regionals. Square in the banking stuff is 22230's relative strength. That's more of like the financial services side of things. Pairs do some recovery, full time frame continuity 2230s, and the XLV with a 322 week in force. All the market back to inside 30s again on these indexes. Anyone know if there's a financial services sector ETF? It's like IYG. I believe it's IYG. So we got about 15 minutes to the next flip. We'll see if there's anything with some long green or long red bars for us. It looks like Carvana just broke some 30s with 15 minutes to go, but it has momentum measured move 60 to confirm a weekly. It's already hit weekly magnitude, has some daily pivot machine gun still long green bars. Autodesk would have 60 to confirm a weekly 2-1-2 reversal, still 3-1 on the month though, so trading inside a scenario 1. On the weekly signal list, Autodesk and Carvana are going to be the only things with 60 signals. It's momentum, which means ideally we don't enter on momentum, but that's all I've got to work with on that side of things. We will see potential 60s on SPY Qs, Dow Jones, IBM, but given that they are, a little bit more flat on the day, we'd prefer to go after things that are really green or really red. If those are to reverse back up, we'd go after the greener stuff. And really, it's Carvana, Autodesk, which are going to have relative strength given they didn't take morning lows and they got long green bars and weekly signals. And I believe on the month, sorry about that if you hear my Windows sounds there. As far as the monthly signal list goes, there's a few things, not much that we normally trade. Like Booking is probably one of the stronger ones. Maybe ALGN, which is healthcare's, but healthcare's are also doji day right now. They have that 322 week. And this is what short-term exhaustion week, short-term exhaustion day, but it's got a 6222 to confirm a monthly PMG. In the chat, Sarah mentioned PayPal's RevStrat 30 to try and reconfirm the week from her list. It's like, I was trying to get moving. Google also had the 30 to trigger the week in her list, which is trying to get moving. That's straight in the free chat, though. But XLF, I thought XLF has like banks and stuff in it. Yeah, XLF has JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs. It's a lot more banks. I'm talking more like Square, PayPal, Upstart, Affirm, like financial services, consumer finance. They also have a ton of real estate, or not real estate, insurers in the XLF. Like it's across the board in the XLF. I think IYG is financial services, which is what I was looking for. Little, obviously, it's a little bit illiquid in comparison, but it'll track the stuff I want to look at. I guess it also has kind of the same holdings almost directly. I know on Thinkorswim you can create your own ETFs. Like if you go Upstart plus Firm plus Square plus PayPal, I'll track all of those. My kid thinks Roblox is. User versus the Simultaneous 30 causing RevStrat. Now still a doji on the day. It's like IBM's similar, SPY, not so much, still inside. Stuck day, week, and month. I think what else would fall under that services name? I guess MasterCard and Visa are also falling under that. Dell, yeah, weekly, which could cause that monthly, yeah. Looks like you got the 2260 this morning as well. Yeah, it caused that 2 up day, or else you're chopping yourself up inside week, inside day, inside month, though. That, that is gap up 2260 back down. It's 2-2 up on the week, but conflicted 2 up in red, stuck inside bar month. So I'd say maybe it goes 3 or 2-2 tomorrow, and they start chopping them up a little bit in here. Given it is a 2 on the week, let's say go 2-2-2, or maybe an inside bar up or something later this week, it would confirm that and try and change the month. But we're now into the 16th day of the month, and it's staying a 1. like a lot of bigger tech names inside on the flip. You got Apple, MU, Nvidia, all inside 60s. Along with tech and semis, which are two down conflicted on the day, two down green, and semis is still two down slightly red. Staples, after the gap up and sell, they're still staying, coming back in with Pepsi leading it, 3-2 up in red on the week, conflicted with the month. That 60 exhausts in 3 minutes. Industrials, 3-2 up in red on the week. They're also slight red on the month. It might set up, they might go outside day, but probably setting up 2-2s tomorrow, depending on how that plays out the rest of the day. And staples are similarly 2 up in red back into a 3 on the week. So we might have some 3-3s potentially later this week on that stuff. Depending on how the Dow goes, it's also slight 2 up in red, a little weaker still, comparison to the other indexes. Intraday. Microsoft, you will have that inside 60 with things like Nvidia, MU, and Apple in the technology sector. Tesla also inside 60, kind of in that bigger big 7 name type list. Mentioning Google, I believe that's on our weekend list as well. Is 3-2 up. It's not 3-1 on my screen. Third 60 of the day is open. So starts as 2-1-2 reversal 60. Rest of them are just stuck. SPY inside 60, Qs inside 60. Dow closer to doing 2 down again, which would reconfirm. IBM inside 60 as well. Oh, you're on Google. Tesla's really the only one I see going to start. And Tesla, you'd want to trigger that weekly with the initial morning shorts. So you want to take out that high day and cause them to cover. 60 magnitude's relatively small, but an outside day would cause the week and get the month in force at the bottom of that 60 broadening formation on Tesla. And it's kind of like hit or miss because indexes, we don't have any futures help to back that up. Sorry about those Windows sounds. Might be able to turn that off. So we go take a look at the market view at this point. See doji for most of this stuff. Dow Jones is pretty much at low a day, so a little bit more weakness initially to start in the industrials staying down there. Staples, similarly, except they're doing some profit taking on this flip after any of those morning shorts. If you look at the 60s here, Hughes starts as a 1, SPY 1, healthcare is 1, semis 1, 1, tech 1, 1. Biotechs could become a 3-2-2 fund to say, fund to do. Energies, OIH, XOP 1s, retail 1, jets double inside. Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, some of the big 7 names, double inside, really chopping them up. All the gold stuck inside, the dollar's rallying a bit. Financials stuck inside. Communications stuck inside, IYZ stuck, Staples stuck, regional banking ETFs stuck, real estate's stuck, all the volatilities stuck. So the market has to trade in the direction of the most 2s and 2s going 3, not the direction of the most 1s going 1. So it's doing nothing. Right? If you got no 2s, there's nothing you can do about that. The other thing I wanted to do is look at the daily here. You can see Q's is 2 down, Dow Jones is 2 up, so they cancel each other out. SPY's inside, which doesn't confirm or negate either of those. IBM is 2 up, which gives you a slight bullish bias. VIX, UVXY, they're up a little bit to start the day. Healthcare is 2 up, financials 2 up, real estate's 2 up. Tech is a 2 down, slightly green, conflicted. Industrials 2 up, but red from exhaustion. Energies 2 up, but red. Biotech's 2 up, but slightly red. Then banking ETF, communications 2 up in green. Semis 2 down, slightly red. Transports go 2 up, back to doji. OIH and the energies stuck, or not stuck, 2 up, but slightly red. So we got a lot of 2s, right, on the day. A lot of them are up, but it's a ton of conflict where any of these 2s up, pretty much every single one of these is red. So to start the week, we can say there's kind of like a bullish tilt where most things are 2 to the upside, but they're not really showing much buying today. It's more so like profit taking on this 2 up day. So it's going up, but they're taking profit. And now, tomorrow, since this is all 2 up continuation day, we can either go 2-2 reversal and then we get simultaneous break reversal across like 80% of these, or we'll go 2 up again and those buyers come back for more. Since we have the Fed later this week, it's more so like the end of the day tomorrow. We can kind of see what their positioning is as we get closer to that Fed day. But discernible trends, we can kind of say the regional banks, right, slightly, but outside of that, it's hard to say. There's not much that we can discern here. Unlike last week, where everything went 3-2 up 60 and was reconfirming for a couple days. After everything went 3-3, went outside day and then outside again. Not so much this week. We need a lot more twos breaking simultaneously to get this stuff moving. And that's where we can ask ourselves, what's the next two? What will that negate creator do? So like, let's say Qs were to go 2-2-60, it would negate the day. It'd still be an inside week. It'd still be an inside month. So, maybe not. Like, we don't know if they're going to do much there. But let's say we can get a 60 that can confirm a daily reversal with some magnitude. Then we might be able to get something. We'd want to confirm that across all the tech and semis, though, if we're going to see that later today. And we'd still say this one's relatively weak because they went 2 down 60, 2 down 60, and now they're 1. So they are, selling, taking some profit in here today. It's just not that aggressive. Now, you have this 3-2-2-15er here. Maybe that could get things moving. It's still just an inside 60, so it's kind of hit or miss. Now, things like Carvana, where they go up and then they stay up, right? And then they have weekly signals in force. At least we have one signal here. And a 2-2-30, you get 2 signals intraday for 30 minutes. And they're still trying to confirm that. So you can see it's a little bit of a stark contrast between this and something like SPY, which is doing nothing, doing nothing, doing nothing, doing nothing. 3 inside bars across the 4 major time frames. It's like you just can't do much with that. So as far as the rest of the day is concerned, what we want to do is we want to stick on things that are green, looking for confirming signals. Looks like all these tech are just getting double inside stuck right now, so there's not much going on there. But like Carvana can be on the observations list and stay there. Cisco, it's like a little bit of magnitude left, but we can at least say there's buying going on today, so we can keep that on the list. Square, more so from Sarah's list, you can see a little bit buying today, so we can keep that one on the list. If we go to Intel, more so from the gap list, like a little bit, and it wouldn't be my favorite. Rather just remove that. And then crowd, you can see a little bit more buying in here today. Still has weekly magnitude. Maybe causes 3-2 month. We're running out of time, but still has some more range to go if they're going up to 286, that daily broadening formation given by the 2-2 week back up into these guys. So if we're going to trade today, we'd want to stick kind of on this stuff. Even the gaps today are kind of lackluster. I know we had some stuff at the open trying to get those puking. They just aren't. And now you can see dojis and all that stuff. So kicking patterns, they go within the first like 5 minutes. If they're not doing that, then we ignore the kicking pattern. We just see what the gap is trying to do. And you can see they tried to buy it up QCOM. Buyers were too weak to take yesterday's highs, reverse. And now the sellers at this point, too weak of sellers to take morning lows. So it's just not showing much aggression here. What we can have is on the list is still Upstart. You can see it a lot better. 60s going and reconfirming staying up, which is more in those financials, which we can pick out like that slight discernible trend, like very little. So we can have Upstart. Pepsi went outside day, so that one's done. QCOM, ask yourself, so month inside, week inside, kicking pattern. First 5 minutes, we didn't really get much of that, so we're going to ignore the fact that's kicking pattern. Saying, was there buying before? Yes, but they had all the time in the world to cover that exit that this morning. So at best, you'd have 60 in force with a day in force, giving you some magnitude down at here. But you're still chopping up on the week, chopping up on the month. And this is going to give you some issues, these 2 inside bars. Because we want trend this week, right? So if it's inside still this week, unable to take that out right on Monday, then we do not have trend this week. I like SPY to start the week. No trend this week, this month, or today. See what's going on in the shenaniganers. BBWI on the list. Some monthly exhaustion risk is a 2-2-week bright green this morning. Some of the energies firm up, not so much anything simultaneous, just 2 of the 3 with no crude oil following. Financials closer to 60, momentum still inside weeks. Besides those regional banks, which are still strongest that I can find as far as the sectors are concerned, with the utilities a little stronger. You guys are trading this stuff? What are you doing? Inside day, inside week, inside month spine. Don't touch it. What? Well, the biggest thing here is you are still an inside week, Bank of America. So you're not negating anything last week did, which means it's not turning down or up, it's sideways. The daily magnitude would not change the week. Now, intraday, I see the 15 inside bar pivot machine gun through these guys, which is totally doable. But do you want to create a position here in the inside week conflicted with the month? Or would you rather go after right same 15er, the 2215 in regional banks, which is the stronger side of the banking ETFs, which has a weekly magnitude, could negate that month, and the month is also potential signal in force up in here, which is way closer than Bank of America. It would only have to move $1.81, and you got this PMG in here that'd make it get going. So we compare Bank of America, which is your banking ETF, compared to regional banks. You're gonna have much better relative strength in the regionals. The other thing with the Fed on Wednesday, Tuesday night, our nightly video is going to be talking about the banks. So anything you're buying prior to the Fed, you'd have to close it before the Fed. Or at the very least, be super on top of that stuff when Fed starts speaking. Yeah. Yeah, but this 15 is a good example of you want to look for this specific condition on whatever time frame you're trading. Ideally, the bigger ones, so you got, bigger range to come back through. Pivot machine gun, then actionable signal back into PMG to take them out. You see the same thing happen on the 5-minute in the regionals. Pivot machine gun, inside bar actionable signal, and then boom, take them out. Cisco does have a measure to move, which could 3-2 the month. It has the long green bars on the day, and the 2-2 week in force. So as we kind of end off the morning session, getting to 11 a.m., just New York lunch time at noon. What we can say is they're doing some profit taking on the gold, which is a pretty good one that was rallying last week. So we'll see if anything comes of that as we open up the week, especially at the Fed later. If they cut rates, I imagine gold goes up due to inflation. We'll see. Let's see. But Q's stuck, semis double stuck, XLK double stuck. So bigger tech sector stuff, which I'm normally trading, is just doing nothing, so I can't do much about that. The 30 simultaneous break, works, makes low a day, and that was about it. So nothing we can do if the market's not going anywhere. Outside of that, we can definitely say there's some discernible strength in the banks as we get into the week with the Fed later this week. So we're going to keep an eye on those banks, see what they're trying to do prior to the Fed. So tomorrow we'll see if they continue or not. Outside of that, it's like doji on everything here. If we go on to the dailies, nothing's really changing. Not much on the Qs, nothing SPY, nothing on the down, nothing IBM. So four major indexes, nothing. And then you can see the banks, definite buys occurring in there today. Then the rest is kind of just meh, nothing. So going into turnaround Tuesday, we will see what's setting up, two up, or two down, two up, or two up, two down. Something like Apple probably will be on that list tomorrow for the gap down, maybe buy to try and go outside weak, but they're pretty weak to start the week. So we'd prefer to go after strength. We just don't see much that we can discern with here. So given the Fed is Wednesday, there could be a chance of a lot of inside days tomorrow to show lack of interest, given there's lack of interest to start the week. Kind of just going to hold off, and then we will stick to whatever we see going nice and green, which to start the week is those regionals and a little bit of the financials. So that is about all. I know there wasn't too much to really get after today, kind of lackluster, which is why we do the tight stops, because on a daily today, you open it up, get stopped out a few times. It's like, okay, pull back. We're going to wait for those 30-60s and maybe get some small positions in there, but they don't reconfirm. There wasn't anything to add on to get them moving. So, so be it. We will see tomorrow. There's going to probably be some good 60s setting up end of day on anything that should be moving tomorrow, and we might have some momentum hammers on some of the more bullish things that we'd like to see get going. But outside of that, there's not too much to talk about here. And we can kind of just wait for the Fed, see what's on the gap list tomorrow, where the movement should be if the market's still lackluster. And then once the Fed comes out, intraday, we'll have a lot of big broadening formations to play off of, hopefully. And given the inside weeks are starting this week, just like last week with the inside weeks, you can see they'll open up Monday, chop, and they get these really small doji tries. And then as the week goes on, you can see you get bigger broadening formation. Then we get out of that, and then the real move with the expansion of that. So the question is, to start the week, we can say our broadening formations could be something along the lines of this on the 60 Qs. How are we either coming back through that or getting outside of that broadening formation later this week would be our question. If you go on SPY, given it's an inside day, it's also going to be starting some broadening formations in here. You can see get stuck, failing to make low a day, and then chop, chop, chop. So tomorrow, inside day up SPY would confirm, about 80% of the stuff we see going two up to start the week. Inside down would negate and cause some 2-2s on a Tuesday. Does not mean it has to close inside day, but for now, there's not much else we can say there. And on the IWM today, you have the bigger trine here on the 5-minute. And then there's a sub try in here like this. So how are we going to get out of this stuff in the IWM? We're nowhere near high a day, nowhere near low a day, and chopping them up doji. So we will see. Outside of that, I don't know if there's any questions for you guys that are in the free chat in the Discord. That's what I've been looking at today. And what I would say is if you're one of those guys that's trading all day, the observation list, this is stuff where we have nice green bars, long green bars. And That's where you'd want to be looking for those 30-60 confirming signals or negating signals, given that there is some orders going in there today. But again, it's just kind of lackluster, so we're still going to pull back. Disney. Yep. So you see weekly, draw our broad information across all the 4 time frames. So the weekly looks like this: short-term weekly exhaustion. The month is still 1. Quarter is still inside down, so you're in conflict. Quarter 2 down, month is 1, week is 2 up. And then it is 2 up day into that exhaustion risk on the week. You'll see the 62.2. That means the exhaustion risk is now, exhausting. Their 60s back down. So given that it's an inside month, this is your broadening information for the inside bar month. So let's say that we're to go 2-2 on a Tuesday, it would negate, reclaim the 3 of the week, and start trying to come back through these guys after the buyer's exhausted being done. So we don't want to really go buy that gap up today if that's what you're doing. Only way you could have done that is right at the open to cause that to get taken out at 91.80 just about. But now we don't know. You made the new highs and the new lows. That's what it was meant to do. So you can see the hammer back through a previous range, which caused that 3 on the week and then takes out both sides of that previous range. So we do not know, because we have no other magnitude to go after. Like the regionals are still just hitting the highs. Financials did confirm it with the 60s, getting some things moving. Squares still up there on the observations list. Upstart sent up some 30s. Creating an inside month sand dollar. All right, I think I'm just gonna hop off here. It looks like the only discernible trend we really have is those banks on the upside, and then Qs still has some daily magnitude. They're trying to get 30s, 60s, breaking lower. 10 minutes and they'll close out some 60s, but it's momentum, so it's kind of hit or miss. We don't prefer to enter on momentum. And really, that's about all I can say about the market today. Looks like semis and tech are also going to close some double inside 60s into the flip unless they break them down beforehand, which looks like they're trying to do on the 30s or the 15s to take the 60s, but that's with 10 minutes to go until the new 60 flip, so it's not what we're looking to do. That's gonna be about it. For everyone that's in stat, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Hopefully, have some good stuff on turnaround Tuesday, and we'll see what's setting up on the gap list tomorrow prior to the Fed. So, adios, and have a good rest of your day.